Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I was able to find a used ATV to buy. We're going to go over a few things on it. In this video, we're going to go over things you should check on a used ATV. If you're looking at buying a used ATV, these are things that you want to know beforehand, before you get into buying it and everything. So let's get into that. Alright, so there it is, the Arctic Cat 700. So in this video we're going to go over a few things you want to check on these when you go to look at a used ATV. Maybe you're looking at getting an ATV for yourself to ride on the trail. So these are some things you want to check before you throw your hard-earned cash into it. So let's get started on them. Number one, I always want to know if it runs good. Obviously, if you're going to put more work into one that needs work to get it going, it might not always run when you go to look at it. So depending on how much work it needs and what you have to put into it. This one, the guy said, has a bad fuel pump maybe and a bad starter, and for sure the battery's dead too. So he tried charging it back up before we got there to look at it, but it was dead when we got there. Been sitting for like 2 weeks, I think he said, so the battery's probably shot on it anyway, just from the age of it. You know, check the engine if it's running. Also, I like to see if it turns over at least. We weren't able to check this one because we didn't have the tools when we went and looked at it, but I did. You can put it in gear and you can rock it back and forth and you can hear the clutches engage. That will sometimes tell you a little bit about it. At least the clutches are engaged in there. You can check the battery voltage. You can check fuses. So another thing I like to check on any ATV you look at is the engine oil. On this one, it was really hard to get that open. It has oil, so the levels are good, but the oil is really black. So that's a sign it hasn't been changed recently, if at all. Who knows? This was used on the farm. Got quite a few thousand miles on it. Check the oil. Another thing you can do, just ask a lot of questions. When the oil was last changed, all the maintenance stuff on it. This one here does have a different oil filter than stock, so it's been at least changed since then. Now, if you get this cover off when you go and look at one, if you want to turn the engine over, you take this cover off, there's a nut right in there. If it's in neutral, you can turn it over that way, rotating forward, and that will let you know if the engine is free. You can check this out in the video. I did a whole video on this, but the throttle boot right here, throttle body boot, will dry rot and crack, and that will let dirt and contaminants into the engine. This one does look dry rotted, but it's got the updated clamp on it. It's not cracked all the way through. We might check that out later, go in deeper. A few more things to check. You want to check the axles and the CV boots. So I just like to go around, check the axles. You can wiggle them in and out. Just make sure none of them are real sloppy. And then checking the CV boots. So you can see the CV boots right here. If you put it in neutral, you can roll the ATV forward and backward, and you can see if there's any cracks or any rips or tears on the CV boots. And you can check seals, the axle seals coming out of the differential, the output shafts coming out of the front and rear of the engine, seals coming out of the engine right down there. And you'll check for any oil leaking, so you'll know if you need to replace those seals or not. You've also got seals on the front. Be sure to check those. You've got the front seal on this one and the rear and the front, obviously. You can check axle seals like I mentioned, front and back. Just check them all. All the CV boots, all 4 axles. Just go around and do a good once over on it. You can check the muffler if there's any play in it. That'll let you know if the header bolts are tightened down there. So that's another thing you can check there. You can check coolant, make sure it has coolant. check that all the lights and everything works on it. And then if it is a running ATV, be sure to go take it for a test ride. All the gears, try high, low, neutral, reverse, and just make sure there's not too many squeaks and noises, clunks or anything. Check the brakes as well. Make sure it's got brake fluid right there, rear reservoir, front reservoir. It's got good pressure. You can check the lights, see if the kill switch or anything is working. Obviously the battery's dead on this one, but yeah, just give it a good once over. Air filter, you can also check that. Check the gas as well, see if it's old gas. Might just need new gas. Check the air filter, oil filter. If it's been sitting for a long time or it's an older ATV, you might want to check your fuel filter and your fuel pump and everything in there. Your fuel lines might need cleaned out or your injector cleaned. So yeah, that's basically it. Checking all the suspension components, the seals, oil, level and color, air filters, the battery, coolant, and then if it's a drivable one, you can just go take it for a test drive, and that will give you a good idea of what you can ask on it. So any issues that you do notice when you're checking it out, and any clunks or anything, things that you need to replace on it, you can obviously ask for a lower price on it. Alright guys, so those are some of my tips on buying a used ATV, things you need to look out for and check over on the ATV. Hope these tips help you out. Thanks for watching guys. I'll see you in the next video.